Ladies and gents, welcome to the second quarterfinal in King of the Desert 5. First quarterfinal was insane. The games were very close. The result was not. We know now the winner. Spoilers. Sorry, people. I'll give you a second. The winner of that was MBL, who won 4-0 versus Sato. Will another Norwegian join him in the Viper, who's won 3 out of the previous 4 King of the Deserts? Or will it be Vivi, who is kind of returning to the forefront in Age of Empires 2 after retiring for a little while and not really taking the game seriously? Man, oh man, has he looked good to get here. Including there's some great wins against great players like Dogao and like Slam, but then a reverse sweep against Nikov. He was down 2-0. They came back to win 3-2. In the blue, we've got Vivi playing as the Mongols. Massive woodlines on this generation. Like, man, MBL would have wanted this in one of those games previously. Mongols are known for the potential to lame. And what I've said about Vivi, because I know these players quite well, is that the tournament history is not good for him against Viper. I don't think his style is that good against Viper. You gotta make it messy. I think if you're passive, you're gonna have some problems against the Snake here today. A little surprising to me that he is not going to try and steal anything from Viper. And they're pretty close together, actually. So it should be interesting to see how long it takes for them to find each other. I didn't already mention it, Viper playing as the Franks, but while he doesn't really need much of an introduction because it is Viper, reminder that he won 3 of the 4 previous King of the Deserts. He has won all the majors in Age of Empires. He's basically done it all time and time again. And I will say this about him, while he is one of the favorites for this tourney, you know, over the past year, there's sometimes a question of, is the shape consistent? You know, he had the big wrist issue. Prior to this tournament, he had like a surgery 2 days before it started. Not actually on his wrist. I think it was like gallbladder. There's just these factors of consistency for the Viper is the point. I'm close with the guy, obviously wish him well, and I know he has an elite level. I think best of 7 is going to help him if, you know, the first game of the day is a little bit rusty. That is kind of a meme for him. It's just first game of the day things. And I do see Viper as the favorite here, but it will be interesting if Viper does win what the semifinals look like against MBL, and if he makes it to the final. Anyways, Vivi hunting with the Mongols. He do hunt 40% faster. So he's just chosen to push in his deer instead of going out to find Viper. And it should actually be very clear to Viper, just purely based on the score, that his opponent is pushing deer. Because you get 100 points per 10% of the map scouted. Mongols have a scouting bonus. So, you know, their score should be high if they're scouting a lot. Viper should know, okay, it's going to probably be fast feudal from Vivi. Now, there's some fun history between these two. If you look for Fat Dragon videos on YouTube, that was Vivi's old name. And it was all pre-DE. Vivi's peak was the year before the Definitive Edition. And man, dude, it was just so much fun to watch these two play ranked. That was back when there was no ranked queue, so it was just ranked lobbies. And so a game would end between Viper and Vivi. And then a game would start between Viper and Vivi. And then another game between Viper and Vivi. I would actually have scoreboards for just ranked games because it was just like epic rematches the entire time. And one in particular I remember was when Vivi stole... Viper stole a boar from Vivi. And Vivi goes, I know pig. And then Viper goes, me love you, pig. And I don't know what's so funny about that still, but it was freaking hilarious. So that kind of started a whole thing. At one point, Vivi played in a show match of mine, and it was Regicide on Nomad. And he lost his king to a town center and then typed, I know king. So it became a thing. It was a good time. Good memories for those that have been with me for a long time. It feels just like yesterday. So, big key here for Vivi is he going to be able to find the Viper? He's going to go for Militia here, so he wants to find him. And he's going to run right into Viper's base. This is amazing for a Man-at-Arms opening to be this close. If you look at Viper's scout, he's scouting the more natural area of the map. Typically, your opponent's going to be here or maybe here. Vivi sees this, and he doesn't know the woodline's there yet, but I'm sure he'll be able to find it. And, oh man, this could really hurt Viper. This is going to get here 30 to 40 seconds faster than normal. The area Viper's at is really difficult to quick wall, and it is the first game of an important series. And I think the importance of a series actually makes Viper play better. But again, it's the first game. Is he going to have things warmed up? Is he going to expect this? He has seen nothing that indicates man-at-arms. Right? He has not been able to get the scouting in. And Vivi's waiting. He's clicked man-at-arms. He shows up before man-at-arms. I think that's a mistake. I would have liked to see some patience there. Viper does get the quick walls down. That was a really important moment for him. He pulled the villager that was exposed and gets the walls down with the others. Drops the stable. He'll be going scouts now. So Vivi getting the man-at-arms upgrade. Still could apply a lot of pressure here. We're going to see that archer range follow-up. This will eventually be archers. We'll probably see a spearman as well. It is now the scout player's opportunity to get a counter-attack in normally. You do not want to be taking engagements against this. You want to get your starting scout, which Viper has here, and then your second scout somewhere to stop walls. But look at the way Vivi has used this gigantic wood line. The only exposed area is the gold. I think this is going to be awkward for Viper. Because if you can't find value against villagers, you're then going to need to maybe add some skirmishers so you have an answer to the archers and the spearmen. Viper doesn't exactly have the wood income that he needs. He's only got 5 on this lumber camp. Does get 2 very nice hits there with the spearmen, though. Vivi's going to regret that one. So now, you know, you're currently cut off from the man-at-arms and the archers being together. And if you wait too long with the 1 spearman archer play, Viper will have 4 scouts, can easily clear both of these things up, excuse me. Viper waiting. I'm sure he's expecting the spearman. I think with Frank scouts, you take the fight. Oh, wait. Viper actually hops out. Wants to clear the man-at-arms. Now there's the spearman and the archer. Villagers normally go for the spearman here. The scout is going to go in for the spearman as well. Viper overall, it's not bad, actually. It's a really good engagement, I think. But we don't know what the follow-up's going to look like for either player, and Viper does clear it up. It's a 5-1 KD, and this should be a dead archer as well. I did say Vivi needed to make it messy here. He certainly tried his best here, but now 6-1 for Viper. Viper can breathe again. Villagers are back on wood. Food eco's looking all right. And Vivi, he knows there's some weak scouts. He could still move forward again and kills a scout there. I really like how Vivi has used this map. And I think for Viper, he's got to be frustrated with the type of map gen we see here. This is just wildly different than the map gens we've seen in other games in King of the Desert. And I like the variety personally, but when you're preparing for, you know, civilizations and strategy, it's kind of hard to know. It's impossible to know what type of generation you're going to get. So he now is in a position where the mobile unit that he has can't find any value. But he adds an archer range at home, so he'll have some skirms out pretty soon. So it doesn't seem to me like Vivi's going to find any long-term value with the archers and the spearmen. We'll see if Vivi has the food income to maybe add scouts against skirmishers. Viper just delete some of those housing foundations now that he's got the skirms. Did get housed, actually. Getting town watch, 20 seconds of TC idle time. It's messy. But he's defended very nicely here. You've got 8 farms for Vivi. You've got 11 farms for the Viper. Viper has not taken damage. And when you think of Franks as a civilization, you think of how smooth the eco is. And how smooth those transitions are. I just wonder if the game sense is going to be there for Viper to understand that these units are looping around for Vivi. I think Viper's position is superior right now due to the economies. There's just... the way Vivi's played this game is he built it up towards archers. But he never got fletching. He never tried to force the issue. The timings on everything has felt a little bit off. Viper has played this game towards a big economy. And he's got lots of feudal age army too. He's not messing around. 7 scouts. But I will... like, Viper could easily lose 2 or 3 villagers to this little army. I guess his plan is just to break down the houses here. Fletching coming in for Vivi. The skirms are going to be forward for Viper with no fletching. Viper looking to assert dominance over a player where he is 21-4 against in tournaments. Those are the wins and the losses in games. That's insane. That is in tourneys. If you do S tier tourneys, I don't think he's ever lost to Vivi. But I was pointing out before the series that it's been a while since these guys have played in a big tournament against each other because Vivi, he kind of lost his level. Vivi leaves his gold now. So the most exposed area of his base is gone, but then the archers come in here. And that's going to be a villager kill. Viper probably will quick wall his way out of this one. And Viper wants to trap him. Viper, don't go flexing here in game number 1 here, sir. All right? Guys, I love Viper. I always need to say this because I don't want someone to be like, T90 picks on Viper. But guys, the fact he lost 2 skirms there while he was trying that house wall, it kind of makes me happy. Right? Because there's just a lot of instances over the years where I've looked at the guy and said it's not fair. I think Viper could have just easily just ran away with his villagers. Would have been in a better situation, but he's got the skills to try and quick wall. So why not? Viper will clear this now. It doesn't look like he'll take any more losses. And he's still engaging heavily against Vivi. Vivi's without gold currently, and he's losing all of his archers. Viper's losing a lot of units too, though. Could be lag. Could be a couple things going on here. I don't know what server they'll be playing on, but it is China versus Germany. That's where Viper lives now. The skirmishers going after the spearmen. Not bad. Vivi back on the gold because there's not as many scouts. Really awkward position. He sold the stone. He's just hoping for Castle Age. And Viper's still not close to clicking up. And Viper still hasn't killed any villagers. I mean, like, maybe there's a chance. I think if Viper had 2 more skirmishers, maybe these scouts would have engaged already. Look at Vivi. Drops the houses. I love this. Because you are now not at risk of losing villagers. Another quick wall. You're not really at a major risk of losing villagers. Unless you don't have vills to garrison in the TC. Wow, man. This is extremely messy. But all the action is here, right? It's all happening in this type of position. So I mean, the skirms are going to eventually whittle down vills, so you have to pull off the weak ones, which would actually help the efficiency. Villagers being in and out of the town center means they're usually off of farms, so you're not going to have a lot of food. It's just not clean. So will Vivi's early Castle Age produce anything for him? He can't add economy because he can't drop the town center, at least is what I mean by off that. He's really lacking farm count. He's really lacking the resources to do significant damage to Viper. So I think of your Mongols, your hope is Steppe Lancers, and that Viper doesn't wall. Viper. If you don't wall, Steppe Lancers are going to run into your eco, and this is going to give Vivi an opportunity to come back. I'm saying something Viper obviously knows. Viper knows his opponent has a stable as well. We see a lot of players open Steppe Lancers these days. You're already behind here, so cleaning this up doesn't feel that good. I'd like to see Vivi send the first 2 Steppe Lancers to Viper's base, and then the next 2 Steppe Lancers or Knights clear this up, because you've got the time for that. Let's see what order he chooses. Now, it looks like the Steppe Lancers are going to clear this. Viper will be happy. Viper now walling up in some ways. In the front of his base, it will be walled. This feels like there's a hole. I don't see a hole, but you know how sometimes in this game, there's a hole where you can't see one? It feels like there is. But maybe not. I guess there's no elevation where those buildings are sitting, so probably not. And I'm sure Viper would have checked. Viper is walled in this area as well. Only exposed region for him now has a town center. Looking pretty smooth for the Snake right now. But 45 population versus 48. Vivi having 48. And Vivi Steppe Lancers, they're running over across the map. Could find some value, but speaking of, oh man. Gotta love it when someone can get this much additional value from their scouts, right? A lot of people make the scouts, they use them in feudal, they take a fight before castle, and then it's over. Viper kills a monk, getting the light cav upgrade too, and these 4 scouts could maybe find an opportunity over here near the gold. Viper just brings those Steppe Lancers over towards his Knights. And Knight will beat a Steppe Lancer, and now there's no monk to convert the Knights. But we do have Steppe Lancers here from Vivi, and there you go. Kills a villager there, very well played. Finally finding some value there as Viper is now over here on the house. This has been a pretty interesting start to the series. I really like it. Like, Vivi has these ways of staying alive in games. It's almost very similar to MBL. Like, if Vivi were to beat Viper today, it'd be a very interesting semifinal, Vivi and MBL. It might be one of the messiest semifinals we've seen. Because their styles just... You never really look at it and say it's clean. But they have a unique way about them, how they play. It's very noticeable. Step Lancer Monk is pretty good. You got to remember that the way... Even though Step Lancers lack the stats... Sorry, talking about MBL just makes me sneeze. While Step Lancers lack the stats of the Knight, they do have the ability of attacking from one range away. And that means that if you have, like, let's say 8 Knights versus 8 Step Lancers, all 8 Step Lancers are engaging all the time, and the Knights kind of have to move around, and there's moments where they're not engaging. So, I think with 2 conversions and the Step Lancers getting kills, it would absolutely be good for Vivi, but this is not what I meant about the engagement. He just ran right into the Knights. But it's the pressure of the moment, right? I remember other games, just thinking of memories between these two, where Vivi was up against Viper in a tournament, and he just said, you're my idol. Like, Vivi was just like, you're my hero, right? Like, there's that aspect as well. It's like, oh my god, like, you're up against a guy who you idolize. Okay, Monk there for Viper. That should be poked down. I'm surprised he popped out. Poke. Oh, but he's trapped. But that's good for the Step Lancers. The one time where a Viper trap doesn't actually make sense. This is amazing for the Step Lancers. Viper's still going to take the fight here. And I guess maybe in the end he ends up clearing it. But it wasn't too bad for Vivi, all things considered. The problem for him is the economy. And that's probably why he's been trying to force the issue here, right? Viper's on 3 town centers, producing villagers out of all of them. Vivi is still just on 1. So Vivi needs every conversion. And he needs every Step Lancer to really get value here. And maybe that wasn't the value he needed from his numbers. Kazi says, I don't understand the lack of walls for steps. He got punished hard for that. Well, no. He had the walls up in time. The other Step Lancers looped way around here. I think it's fine. But, yeah, I mean, Step Lancers can punish you. Viper now, he figures army is king here. Has his 2 light cav. Oh, he gets a conversion. And then the 2 light cav are going to kill the Monk. So big swing there for Viper as he gets another conversion as well. And a tricky spot for Vivi. Because do you dive even deeper to kill the Monks? Because if you do, you'll lose Step Lancers. But if you don't, the Monks could probably convert you again. So you can tell he's trying now to kill the Monks. I think this is actually the best play, is to kill them. Because it will just be worse for you next time. But there is a cost to that. As Viper looks for another Monk. And the Monk is out there, and the Monk is now hiding. But Vivi now 12 villagers behind, and big eco upgrades behind. Like, massive eco upgrades behind. No wheelbarrow. Viper's got that. And then, you know, the farm upgrades, they come in for free for the Franks. The Viper obviously has that. Which means all these farms that Viper's seeding are going to last a really long time. It allows him to save wood for other things, like buildings, as he goes double monastery. He goes triple barracks now. Because he wants to go for pikemen. And now this is where Viper was taking stone. That villager goes down. Viper's aware that that's a possibility now. I like that. I think you could do that over here as well. Just like poke the sides. But you always need to pay attention to the front. Because Viper will push you there if you start to raid too much. But that distracts from the main force. It's kind of funny how Viper sent the Step Lancer he converted to deal with it. He's like, I won't even dedicate my own units to deal with your raids. That's how little you mean to me, peasant. Viper going out for relics is a surprise to me. Because I feel like the way this game is flowing is you win this fight, you win the game. I don't know if relics are really going to matter. Vivi wants a forward castle on Viper's face. This game is going to end one way or another here. Pikeman upgrades in. There's not that many pikes. There's gonna be some camels. There's gonna be some monks. There's gonna be so much here. Viper will want to engage on the hill. Get the conversion with the monk here, Viper. Look at the Step Lancers engage, man. It looks so cool. The Mongol Steppe Lancers have more HP, something I didn't mention before. Vivi's going to get 2 Knight conversions. But Viper's got Pikes. Viper's got more Monks on the way. And I just don't know if Vivi has enough here. He obviously needs for this to go up. Viper says, hey, that's a great idea. I've got cheap castles. Let me do this too. Hello? Viper? There it is. And unfortunately for Vivi, it doesn't seem like he has enough. Right? Like he's going to quote-unquote win the fight, but his castle's not going to go up because he lost too many villagers. Viper can always make more pikes. Viper's castle will be up. And Viper now has a close to a 50 villager lead. And game 1's going to go to the snake here. But it was a really interesting first game. I really like the approach from Vivi as he just taps out, calls the GG, realizes he has no chance. I think for Vivi, the way he played Castle Age was fine, but it really was just futile. Because think about the problems that he had with his gold alone, right? That was the issue in this game. Castle Age was a good attempt at recovery. You just expect Viper and you expect Franks to be able to have a very smooth game based on how Feudal Age played out. And something that bothered me when he did it, and I'm not trying to be critical here, I'm just talking about how important these moments are, is how Vivi played with the Man-at-Arms upgrade. I want to show you this again. Okay, so, wow, he had it very early. Okay. So it's kind of hard to know from Vivi's point of view. But players do get a sense for what the opponent has seen. And at this point, we could see Viper just saw this house. So if you actually go back, I can't dive too deep here because we have a whole series to cast. This is the first time that Vivi would have encountered Viper's Scout. Guys, Viper had no clue as the opponent was going for Man-at-Arms. Viper didn't prep any small walls. Viper had no clue. And watch this. This is Viper's point of view. He knows Vivi's in the next stage. Still doesn't know what his opponent's doing. And Vivi shows him the militia. Not only are the militia not together, but it's not Man-at-Arms. And I just think that there could be better execution there. Viper obviously with good damage control, but I think even Viper should have gotten absolutely smashed there. So... yeah, I mean, that's just my thinking on this. Full adaptation there from Viper, obviously well played. And then, unfortunately, the follow-up wasn't quite good enough. But Viper, so good with the Scout-Skirm combination. And it suits the Franks well. Not the end of the world for Vivi. Viper gets his win. All right, game number 2. Let's see if Vivi can turn it around. I know he calls himself a noob, but maybe we should just put Vivi here. Come on, Vivi, you're not a noob. If Vivi's a noob, then what am I, guys? Then what are you? Then what are we? Vivi's playing Lithuanians here. Game number 2. Viper playing as the Incas. One of his first 2 picks. Incas are extremely flexible, especially with our current Arabia meta, where it's all about tiny little advantages. Not building up towards late game, which has happened a bit more in the past and a bit more on different versions of Arabia. So getting extra pop space from your houses, Incas, means that you save wood to spend on other things. And obviously when the game gets messy, you don't get pop capped. Also, as Viper's coming forward here, he might try and lame Vivi. We might have a I know elephant situation. But anyways, another thing to think about as Viper's going for the elephant is you get the llama at the start as well. So a little bit of extra food, a little bit of extra pop space, saving some wood. That's before you talk about some of the other bonuses from the Incas. And guys, it's a tournament game. You're up again. Viper needs to text MBL and say, how do you do that? How do you lame? Please teach me, bro. I don't know how you say that in Norwegian, but Viper... did he not get 2 hits there or what? Forgive me, but I'm actually going to go back. And I actually want to look at how Viper lamed there because... I'm surprised the elephant went back. Okay, it's going fast. Hold on. All right, how many hits did he get? I think he got 2 hits. I don't think this is Viper's fault. Sometimes the elephant will, forget about the first hit and double back slightly. Let's see. 1. Oh, he didn't get the second hit. It made the motion, but he didn't get the second hit. Wow, okay. It looked to me like he got the second hit, but then I realized upon further review, he did not. And anyways, now we catch up to live time. Vivi's going to be very grateful there. Viper's Eagle's now weak. Vivi started with extra food as the Lithuanians and will be able to get his elephant. And so, bit of a mix-up there from Viper. To run forward that early, he did sacrifice scouting of his own base. So he doesn't have these, for example. But in the end, I expect him to be fine. Vivi will actually find those sheep. And Vivi will get them away from Viper's base. And Viper's APM is too high. Don't think that was it. Just didn't get the timing right. And actually, there's even another sheep here that Viper's not going to get. One of them was coming in from over here. Now Viper's going to attack Vivi's scout. And Vivi's going to commit to get this villager kill against Viper. And he can do that, dude. So I don't think that was... It's so weird. It should be the right play there on the hill to try and kill a villager. But against Viper, you almost have to know that's not the correct play. Because now his scout is weak as well. But again, it's the correct play to try and kill a villager there. Maybe not if there's two villagers. Maybe there it's questionable. But Viper thwarts the attack. So I expect Vivi to go scouts here. I think when you think of Vivi's playstyle, it's either forwards or scouts. He's not really the best archer player, which he tried in the first game. You have all your food. You're Lithuanians. Give it a shot. For the Viper, it's always a little bit tricky. Because you don't want to fall into the situation that your opponent fell into in the previous game. Where you try and go for like man-at-arm archer. And then you have Lithuanian skirms with their scouts. A build order that I find is pretty good against the scouts is going for the 2 militia into the archers. But I don't think that's a Viper thing. So we'll see if Viper chooses to add anything here out of this barracks. It does kind of feel like, as his Eagle's just checking this area to get some walls down, that he's just going to open passively, play defensive, and then adapt from there. This scout will be stronger than the Eagle in Feudal, so important that Viper got an extra hit there. We'll see how things flow. Am I casting with Dave any? I'm casting with Dave. I don't know both sets tomorrow. I'll be casting at least one with him. I'll be doing one of the semis, and then I'll be doing the final with Dave. That's the current plan. So you're stuck with either me or me and Dave for King of the Desert. Hope that's not too shabby for you guys. That seems to be the plan right now. There's a stable for Vivi, as expected. Only 6 on wood, too. Like, he's going heavy on food. And I like it. I think it's the right play. Try and catch Viper off guard here. Viper was susceptible to early attack in Feudal Age in the previous game. And I kind of broke down how I felt like Vivi had opportunities that he didn't take advantage of. He didn't do the best with his position. That's going to be a dead eagle. Should be anyways, because the scout's on the hill. And yep. Not so bad for Vivi. Map is fairly open, though, so it's going to be tough for Vivi to get the walls down. Obviously pretty open for Viper as well, but this wall's kind of nice. It's minimal walling to protect the back area of your base. Whoa, Viper's not going for a range? Oh, he's just delayed with it. Okay. This is interesting, though. He goes Spearman, Eagle, Spearman. Now, I could make Loey the Legend jokes, but I know Viper's elo is kind of high. And then Vivi goes like full freaking wall. This is Vivi for you, though, right? Like, he doesn't have as much balance in transitions as most players. So he's just a player that has extremes to him. Opens what I thought was going to be aggressively with scouts. Now has 6 villagers walling. What this means is he's not going to be able to produce many more scouts because he doesn't have the food eco set up. Normally, a lot of that wood would go into farms. But it's not going into farms because he's walling like a madman. So it's these 3 scouts are pretty much it for him. Viper is foreseeing the need to have some eagles on the field because he knows it could be skirms from Lithuanians eventually. Obviously, still has the spearmen all around. And Viper knows exactly what's coming here. Christar, to answer your question, Incas were buffed in the most recent patch. So the food cost on their units is discounted now. And in the past, they were always a very well-rounded civilization that could kind of counter anything and do a lot of different things. I think that in combination with, as Viper tries a quick gate there and doesn't get it, I think that in combination with the fact that the meta right now is kind of against Men-at-Arms and a lot of like early Archer openings is why Incas seem to be shining a bit more. Somebody watched this game? Oh my god. Okay, listen to this sentence. Lothar says, T90, I saw you play Saracens versus Incas the other day. Your opponent tried a Siege Tower Cameo strat. Have you considered uploading that game? What were you doing watching my games, man? I was offline. I didn't think I had stalkers. Says the caster, by the way. I would consider maybe uploading that to YouTube. Mamelukes and Cameos are not something you see in the same game all the time. Well, what'd you think of it? Did you think it was YouTube content? Look at this from Viper, by the way. He sees the range and he just backs away because he's scared of those skirms. It's interesting, though, right? Because, like, Vivi hasn't made a single skirm, which I kind of like. Also, Vivi trying to get a kill here. He will find that kill if Viper can't quick wall it. And Viper can't quick wall it. So the walls are down for Vivi. The military count for Viper's insane. But he hasn't been able to do anything with that right now. And, oh man, where's Ozone at? Ozone, you called this. I don't know if Ozone's around. So the thing that we talked about earlier was how in love with the Burgundians Vivi is. But Vivi's going to go for another kill, and he gets another kill. So he gets 2 villager kills versus the Viper with minimal army investment. He's got 1 now. It's very risky. But anyways, I want to finish my thought because, like, Ozone called this. This is something I talked about with Burgundians. Vivi loves his unique unit with Burgundians. He goes Eco, Walls, and Custilier. And I think he's just going to try and get to the latest with the Lithuanians. Yo does it a lot as well. The Chinese players are just in love with their unique unit play with those 2 civs. And I mean, I don't want to say dream opening because there's a lot of this stuff that could be considered a nightmare pretty soon. But all things considered, I think that Vivi's actually done a really good job of getting to the spot he wants to be in. So we're going to see, you know, Stonewall's back here. Never hesitates on that. And he's hoping to have... Is there a hole there? Oh, there's another... It's a different type of tree. Yeah, basically what he's hoping to have is just enough skirmishers to trade against the archers over the walls. To me, I mean, you really need to have more skirms here, Vivi. Oh, God, it's all falling apart. Oh, jeez. I think if he would have... If had 5 skirms, this never happens. If he has 5 skirms, these archers are getting picked off, and the villager there builds a house. So he does need to fall back into an eco setup he probably wasn't looking for. Villagers repositioning from a lot of different resources. And now, Viper gets to see his opponents on stone. And Viper is going to be in Castle Age first. So things did not go fully according to plan for Vivi here after all. But still will reach Castle Age and still will probably be in a position to be able to build a castle when he gets there. What's Viper's next military building? Because he's got 2 barracks making eagles. He might want to raid with eagles before the pressure comes in from that Latus. Or from the Latus. And very rare move these days. A very rare move from the Viper. Viper realizes my opponent only has wood in that location. He's not over here. I have full vision on what he's doing on this side. I'm going to tower him. And this is a great play from the Snake. Oh, man. Viper's not fully walled, which could be an issue if the Latus eventually come out. But I don't know if the Latus are going to come out soon. If he still isn't clicked up, he would then need 500 more stone to be able to build the castle. And this guy's not going to have wood. And his base is still open. So Viper could raid. He could go past the farms. He could go underneath the towers. He could go in so many different locations to Viper finish the tower in order to raid Vivi to death. Yeah, the tower is actually perfect, yeah. It should range every villager here. And now Viper obviously is going to keep an eye on this wood line. A little surprised to see Vivi hasn't gone for a market here. Market can help in these messy situations. Has the wood for one. He'll probably need to buy some stone. Sell some wood. Something along those lines at some point. Viper will reach Castle Age, which instantly makes the Eagles stronger, which is why he's diving now. And there he is. He's getting the crossbowman upgrade. Viper also underneath the TC here. Backs away now, though. Viper with a forward monastery. And now Eagles will attack these walls. And we have a tower from Vivi. We know his plan. We know what he's in love with. But can he get there? Crossbowman upgrade actually canceled by Viper. Interesting. I kind of like it because he wanted upgrades on the Eagles more than anything else. Vivi with some house walling here. But no, the archer was saved and the Eagles get under. That's annoying. Because now you just use these Eagles to stop these villagers from doing this. So now you need a whole nother layer of house wall here if you're Vivi. God, what a mess. Oh no. Ay, 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 ay. But you just can't play defensive against Viper. This is the same thing, or a similar thing that happened in the previous game, right? Viper takes advantage with Army and Feudal, and then in Castle Age, he kind of dominates. It's not over because Viper is committing Eagles versus Latus. And Latus are super good against Eagles. But, I mean, Viper's got some monks out. And Viper as well. Look at this. What is this? This is really smart, actually. He's going to just try and drop another tower here. Look at this! This is really funny. Vivi's doing the right thing, though. He's actually using the knight to distract the archers. And then if the archers are gone, he figures he could maybe kill the villagers building the tower. But Viper just repositions the villagers. Wow, that's so clean, actually. And he's going to bring his monk, and he's going to bring his eagles over. Monk has been spotted. Archers want the kill there. They're not going to get the kill, and it's not looking any better for Vivi. Because that means that tower goes up. Vivi's going to drop his castle, though. He's got 3 knights as well. This castle should shoot down this tower so we can get wood again. The efficiency is going to be really bad, but still. Vivi kills the monk with the scout. And this is where I'd like to see him counterattack with these knights. There's no use for you to have army anywhere else. Viper in here with the eagles. Vivi with some good damage control again. Again, big problems to have to deal with, but he's really showing his class here. And, you know, problem for Viper, we've said before, he doesn't really wall sometimes. But his eco is flying right now. I know it doesn't look like it because he doesn't have the Vil lead, but his eco is so much more smooth. The forward monastery could be kind of an issue for Viper because he really just needs a couple monks at home. But he's got 3 TCs. He knows this is coming. He had some army at home. He sees it. This will not come as a surprise to him. And Vivi didn't know the town center was there. And now he's running into the town center fire. And well played, Viper. Viper is also collecting the relics in the middle of the map. Vivi's score would also be alarming to me if I were Viper. It's pretty crazy that Vivi is at 50 villagers right now. But knights are going to go down. Viper with the quick wall and the trap. Doesn't allow those knights to escape. And those are 3 easy kills for Viper. 20 military for him now. The 2 relics being in the middle of the map is a risky thing if Vivi ever takes map control. Let's look at Vivi's worker efficiency with these villagers. Let's look at their history. You see how much they've been moving? Let's look at Viper's eco. Let's look how much they've been moving. Decent amount as well, I suppose. And these villagers trying to get home. Doesn't look like most of them will make it. Not a bad find there from Vivi. Vivi looking for a relic on this left-hand side now. You get +1 attack on your cav with the Lithuanians per relic. Eagles protecting what's left of the villagers here. Good Vivi micro the archers. And Viper with TC number 4 now. Worth noting that Vivi now has enough stone for another castle. Guys, I think this game could get insane. This game could get ridiculous pretty soon. Because 6 Latus, if Viper doesn't have the monks in position, could take a decent fight and then a castle on the hill. Maybe. Because remember the previous game, Viper just had to win a fight and then it was over? He sent his monks away. There's another reason to send monks away here, and that's just to get relics from the Lithuanians. If Viper's out of position... Oh, never mind. Okay, we have a defensive castle from Vivi. I'm wrong. Just kind of feels like, as we have another Viper quick wall, that he was going to go for a castle forward. And honestly, if he tried a castle forward, I think Viper would see it. I think Viper would deny it, and the game would probably end. So, defensive castle is fine, but there is a question of economy right now. One relic for Vivi. The other relic is here. Viper's going to sit his archer there. And this is one of Vivi's favorite units. He's added more scouts to try and kill monks. Does Viper see this castle? He does. He's going to lose his houses and maybe even his tower to that castle from Vivi. But I'm sure he's happy that that castle is at home and not somewhere near his base. Dang. If Viper's not paying attention, things could go really wrong here. Like, bro, just, like, wall, bro. Like, okay, he reacts, and he quit. Okay, you know what? Just stop. Okay, so now he's going to save all his vills because he's a little nerdy guy. Like, what? Again, it's not fair, but Vivi, you should take this as a positive. I know you really feel flexed on right now if you're Vivi, because that's just stupid. Oh, oh, God. Oh, God. This is why you need to wall ahead of time. Because Vivi will run circles around you this entire game, Viper. This is a risky, risky move. And look what Vivi does. You ready? Big attack here. Where's he go? Boom. Middle with light cav. Where are your monks? He's looking for him. He's on the prowl right now. Latis should take really good trades against Eagles. Eagles have no bonuses there. I would take that fight. Latis, Lightcav looking. Viper did the right thing to have his monks protected. Viper only has a 12 villager lead. How? And Vivi's got 14 Latis. I think he's at a point now where he could win the main fights. But I guess in the main fight, or what we thought would be the main area, there's now a castle for Vivi. Vivi didn't immediately engage here. So his units didn't get the value he would have wanted. And ends up sticking in the fight because he figured I took damage. I might as well. And well played from Viper. Viper, should he maybe consider Cameox right now? Because I don't think Eagles is the way. Monks is good. I would like to see Cameox now. Now, they do cost more food. So that's an argument against them. And I think a TC here, outpost over here, anything for Viper. He does have outpost on this side. He is going to get that relic right now. And has to pay attention to the monks. Vivi's light cav swooping in. Viper notices it. Honestly, so well. Like, both these players have controlled their units so nicely in this game. This has been a treat. But Viper's Vil count is rising like crazy. And eventually, Vivi needs another forward castle. Finds more villager picks. He's extremely active with his army right now, Vivi. It's expected that Viper would have idle TC time at this point, guys. But some of it's been a little bit higher than you would expect. Because he's been making food units, and he's been on 4 TCs. And for a while, he only had 17 farms. He's up to 30 now, though. So he's done a good job as he, again, tries to trap this army. I think Viper's going to shoot towards Imp. This hill, maybe, is where he would want his next castle to try and go up to Imp and treb down Vivi's castles. Vivi's not planning on Imp at all. He's planning on a really good engagement against Viper. That's his hope anyways. Oh, God. I think you have to delete all these. Oh, no. I think you have to delete them. Delete them. Delete them! No! No! Viper gets 4 conversions! You never want to delete them there, right? Like, 'cause it's just such an awful feeling. Great job from Viper, though. He tracked all these armies. Like, he's done such a good job. I guess he'll drop a castle here because he's sick of those raids, and I get that. I like it a lot. And Viper's really controlled this game and this series well with military thus far. Vivi tried to change the type of military to somehow get better engagements. But Viper's adapted super well this game. Castle on the right side means the raids will not accomplish much. He's getting relic number 4. And I think This is a fight you almost have to take if you're Vivi to have any chance. But if you take it, it's not a good trade, so you don't feel comfortable. And Viper will probably aim for Trebs on these castles soon, right? And now Viper has the hill, and more monks are coming forward here. Yeah, this is most likely Viper's game from here. Third castle's great for latest production, but it has now reached a point where your economy is not good enough to keep up with Viper's. And here comes Viper to the hill. Just as we expected. And converts another latest. So now Viper has 5 of them. Overall, I think Vivi's plan of getting into latest was very good. But I think Viper's ability to control the map and pressure Vivi before he got to latest and then defend from it has just been so strong. Here's an instance where Viper could be hit. Viper again, house walls, and then again the castle's there, right? So clean. Like, again, you should be walling that. I guess the worry for Viper, if you're a Viper fan, is if he leaves his base open like this against a player who doesn't fall quite as far behind, like Vivi has here, is he going to be able to get away with that? I think that is potentially an area of concern for the Snake. Because he's got quite a few idols at the moment, but he's going to bring the latest he converted back. He's sending Cameoks around, which is hype. He's going to have Trebs. And Vivi's still stuck in Castle Age. And Vivi's like, man, if only I had a history of coming back against players when I went 2-0 down. And I say that because that's precisely what he did in the previous round, for those that missed it. And Viper's running away with all these vills. Oh, the raids from the latest. Can't say they're not adding up. Again, Vivi was down 2-0 against Nikov. Came back to win 3-2. Nikov and Viper are different beasts, but Nikov was my heavy favorite in that series. So, all important things to remember. Viper doesn't have army to protect his Treb now. Vivi wants to take that. Vivi is going to take out the Treb. He could actually go right over to the next Trebuchet as well. He's staying alive. But he's still up against an imp army. He still has to produce latest nonstop. I feel like Viper just go Halb here. Yeah, I know it feels bad originally for Viper to lose the Trebs, but you just make more. You can continue this cycle all day. Also, Viper with some Eagles in the back right now. And another Treb goes down, but at what cost, right? I like how Viper got ballistics for his castles, by the way. His 2 castles on the front have 8 kills, which means it was all latest. It's also interesting the value he's gotten from the latest that he has converted. Are these stats Viper stats, or are they Vivi stats? The kill stats. I wonder how capture rage works with that. I'm still waiting to see if Viper will get Halb. But yeah, Viper's not going to let this one slip, guys. And I felt like if there was ever a chance for Vivi, he would have to rattle Viper in the first 2 games. And wasn't really able to do anything too crazy. And Viper's just economically been so smooth. And in mid-feudal, his army control is amazing. His monk control is amazing. Look at that. Does 50% worker WELM mean the Vills could have collected twice as much in that time if they were at 100%? Yeah, but worker efficiency is never at 100% because villagers are always dropping resources. So I don't know the exact stats for the worker efficiency last minute in terms of what is considered good. But I think you're looking at like 80+%. I think technically Dark Age might be the best. You have fewer factors going on. Anyways, Vivi taps out, calls the GG. Viper wins 2 in a row. And Viper's looked very strong. Vivi clearly has these plans from Feudal Age to Castle Age. The issue is, he stops producing army, or his strategy is to give up on producing whatever army he's making in Feudal and wait a certain period of time. In this game, I got excited for him because I saw he had the range and he was going to go for latest, and I was thinking skirmisher and latest. But then Viper got in and forced some towers and all these things because he kind of skipped a step and he didn't have the skirms. But it's hard to know how much Viper's going to commit. It's easy to think when you're this good that you can get away with just skipping the skirms because you don't really want to invest into the skirms. But I really do think in this game in Feudal Age, Vivi could have used some skirms. And then, like, think about it this way. If you have 10 elite skirms with Latus, you can use the skirms against the monks. I know it sounds weird to say, like, skirms versus monks, but that is a very real thing. Instead of having to maybe try light cav, because then there could be pikemen. And then again, it's like skirms. Skirms are very important. Anyways, they're starting the next game already. There's like no waiting time. So sorry I can't sum this up more. We've got to move on. Alrighty, game number 3. And I was saying prior to this, before seeing the civilization, that Vivi needs to go hard at Viper. And he needs to try and lame. No, actually what he needs to do is he needs to make sure that he gets all the food that he can. Because he's Chinese. Chinese start with 0 food. If anyone's going to be laming here, Viper might need to consider it. But stealing a boar or stealing some sheep from the Chinese can be insanely effective. Where is Viper's scout at the moment? Okay, it's in the back of his base. Now, the other thing you hope for in King of the Desert is you hope you have a generation which has a bit more wood and more wall potential. And honestly, this isn't too bad. It's still open, right? But there's 3 wood lines near the TC for the Fat Dragon, or Vivi. Formerly the Fat Dragon, or still the Fat Dragon. But anyways, and yeah, so like, all things considered, a really nice generation for the Chinese, who have cheaper technologies and amazing tech tree on top of starting with more villagers. So what I'd like to see from Vivi in this game is I'd like to see a bit more Feudal Age army. Finally, a situation where maybe he could go scouts into skirms, scouts into archers. We might not play that type of game, but I think it's something he needs to do. This is a very clean start for the Chinese. 25 seconds is what people for a while viewed as the perfect Chinese start of TC idle time, that is. And he's at 23 seconds here. You got the house timing down. All this stuff is very tricky. But for the high level, you kind of expect it these days. And Vivi's played with Chinese a lot. So Viper's map, the same. He's got 3 woodlines close by. They're actually closer to his TC, I think. Like, let me look. Okay, so Vivi's TC. Oh, wait, how do I do this? Viper's TC. Okay, so there's just more trees within vision from that zoom level. That can be important if it's scouts, because it's so easy to just wall in towards your TC. Viper's not choosing to lame, which is surprising to me. Because he did consider it in the previous game. This basically ensures that the Chinese are going to have a perfect start. But you would have already had to commit to go forward now. And Viper didn't seem to have interest in doing that. I find Tatars are really good at producing the food army in Feudal. And I know a lot of people like to play archers with them, but even just archers into scouts just feel so fluid. Because you're able to go double military building, like archer range and stable, earlier than most civilizations. Not because you have a wood bonus, because you don't, but because you don't have to seed farms as early to get food. The Viper's going to have tons of food here, right? Because he's got additional food on the sheep with his civilization. On top of pushing in the zebra and the ostrich and the 400 food per elephant. So it suits what we've seen from Viper, getting more army on the field in Feudal. And then in Castle, if this game is close, that's where Chinese really start to shine. Tatars do have some other bonuses. Also, having Tatars where you do more damage while fighting on top of hills is nice on a generation like this. Again, if that game's close, let's say mid-Castle Age is all about the Chinese for me. The Chinese, again, can kind of just do it all. So we'll see how it goes. Vivi is Chinese. How long have you been sitting on this information? No, I meant he is a Chinese player, yes. I've known that. But he's now playing as the Chinese, you little smart. There's children watching. I'm not going to say what I was thinking. Actually, I don't know if any children actually watch. According to my YouTube stats, you got some people who are maybe teenagers. But I recognize that most people that watch me are within the age range of, like, let's say 25 to 45. And with that, many people have kids or families, and they can't always just be watching while they're the only ones listening. So I do swear, because sometimes I just, like, there's no better word for this situation. But I try not to as much. Not that my viewer cares, but like my viewer's wife or husband might care. Or they might be watching with children around. It's tricky. I don't like to be labeled as family-friendly content, but I suppose I do supply that sometimes. All right. So Vivi did go to gold for a second there. Both scouts are a bit weak due to the engagement that we just saw, but Viper ran into the TC fire, so his is weaker now. But Vivi won't be able to pull off Man-at-Arms here. This is a bit of a scuffed build here. Yeah, Viper not adding any militia himself. To me, this just looks like a scout build. He'll be faster to feudal, which is nice. And he's going to see the gold now. This is the 2 militia play. I mean, it's just not common for the Chinese to see the 2 militia. Could surprise Viper, because you have the starting scout, and then you have the 2 militia all attacking at once as the plan. But Vivi spent so much time pushing in his resources, which obviously you want to do as the Chinese to have the good start. He has now sacrificed scouting intel. And I wonder if he sees the hills after seeing the neutral gold and doubles back. Yeah, he's like, there's probably not a TC over here because of the neutral gold and all the hills. But this gives Viper time, and now Viper sees the militia. And Viper has the weaker scout. He just wants to complete the stable and leave. Viper, 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 Viper. Oh my god. That misclick could hurt him, but no, he's fine. It's Vivi's 30th birthday today. Oh, nice. Vivi runs directly into the town center fire with the militia and also with the scouts. So not the best start. And like I said, you notice how Viper's going double military building? So again, it's very weird because you think Malians or Japanese, they have these wood savings bonuses. But what I love about the Tatars is you just do not need farms for scout production as early, and you can get away with this. Because this timing is very rare otherwise. There is the range for Vivi. And, wow, Vivi's eco. It's not the prettiest. Normally you want a lot more farms at this stage. And I'm beginning to get worried for Vivi. Obviously, being down 2 games versus Viper hurts, but just not really seeing the macro that I think is needed today to be able to keep up with this guy. Like, if you don't have the eco set up, then what you need is you need to have insane damage with your armies. And that's not happening either. You have another instance where he goes in for an attack here, and Viper just pulls away the weak Vil. He's going to take out the scout as well. That villager won't die either. Or will it? Nope, it won't. So you see what I mean? Like, this is really complicated for him right now. Obviously, just so good from the Viper and so smooth in transitions. We do appreciate the mostly clean commentary. As long as mostly's okay. Because like I said, there's some instances where, like, if it's like the biggest siege onager shot of all time, I don't want to be like, holy cow, okay? Holy cow just doesn't cut it. But I do have to be careful because I did get a call from my grandmother once, and it was after Hidden Cup, I forget which one, and she was like, I'm so proud of you after all you've done, all this nice stuff, right? All you've been through, blah, blah, blah. You've always been so intelligent, so smart. Grandma's just saying all these nice things about me, and then she goes, but I will say that this is not what my grandma sounds like, but I do my best. I will say that I heard a word from you that I never thought I'd hear out of my grandson's mouth. And I was like, I don't think she's a regular viewer. I think she just showed up because she knew it was a big day. But I've got some family pressure as well, as Viper's going to go, doink, get a villager kill. Does lose a ton of HP on his scouts, though. Almost every single scout is weak. And Vivi will know that. So Vivi just says, what's up? And just fights it off. So Vivi's going to go for a sneak here, guys. He has fletching. He is Chinese. Viper's scouts are weak. These scouts are unlikely to kill any more villagers from here. Viper's in a decent enough position here. But he's not going to be able to break through because Vivi's going to drop a house. Vivi, Vivi, house, house, Vivi, house. Okay. Stables up for Vivi to make scouts with the food that he has against Viper skirms. And all Viper has done this series is track armies and make more army than Vivi. Right now, he's tracking this as well. But what he doesn't know is that 4 archers are going in towards his wood line. Vivi, you're walled now, basically. Just focus on this alone. This is nothing. Just focus on these Vil kills. Does Viper see it? And what does he do? Really nice house walls from Viper. Because you can't small wall, because the archers can sit here and hit those villagers. So now he's been able to just go for some nice damage control. And still pester this wood line as Vivi's waiting to make scouts. Vivi has to relocate most of the wood line. Archers then go after Viper scouts. Have lots of micro going on here. But that could have been way worse for Viper. I think the play, by the way, and we can maybe go back later, it's interesting to think about, is you don't attack the Wallville. Because you attacking the Wallville and having to go back for it shows Viper and gives Viper time for damage control. I think you pass the Wallville to the woodline. But in the moment, especially when you're under a lot of pressure, you don't do things like that. I think if it's a ranked game, Vivi probably does what I just said. Vivi's still more than fine in this position. Viper will be able to defend from this, but it hasn't exactly looked clean for him either. Look how many villagers are building these walls. And now the scouts show up for Vivi. The power of the Chinese and the surprise of the scouts. And Vivi, I don't know where these villagers are going, but they'll be able to make it home safely. And Vivi can run over to Viper's base now. Because if you get the scouts here, Viper's not going to have an answer for these archers. Vivi wanted a map generation where he could wall up. And he needed to play more into the feudal age. We talked about this. And that's exactly what he's gotten here. He got good feudal age damage. Expansive feudal age economy. He will lose archers now. But a good opportunity for him here. Viper needs to maybe fight off with Vils here. Now Viper backs away from the berries. And like, what does Viper make? He honestly isn't producing much army at all. He's trying to go Castle Age. I'd say this was greedy, but I did watch his series against ACCM where he did the same thing as Huns. And he went into Cav Archers there, and the faster Castle Age made a big difference. Wow, I guess the way he sectioned off his base, it's really hard for Vivi to do damage. I mean, Vivi's doing the right thing to run through here. I feel like it's so weird that Viper didn't try and wall this off. But you almost don't believe that running through here is going to accomplish anything right now if you're Vivi, because you're up against Viper. But why would Viper just leave you easy opportunities? It must be a trap, you know? So I don't think overall the approach has been greedy from Viper, but this is the reverse scenario for the players here. This is the first time where Viper is going to have the faster Castle Age, but also have way less army control. And Vivi's going to click up right after this. So it's not like he's late or anything. And there he goes. Vivi needs to wall. Has a lot of work to do that. But he needs to wall, and he needs a gate here, especially. So when he's passing through, Viper can't easily get to him. Couple ranged forces from Viper still. And still not sure it's actually going to be Cav Archers. I think he might just go crossbowmen and skirmishers. Vivi's distracted. So Vivi doesn't see that. Viper will have maybe 10-ish crossbows. At this point, because the crossbow upgrade is pretty expensive, I think the meta is still adapting from that change, but I think players might even debate on not getting the crossbow upgrade soon. You're Tatars, so you want to do it, but like, with these resources, do you really want crossbow? Maybe you just go Bodkin Arrow, which is 200 food, 100 gold, and then just make Cav Archers. Oh, that wall is important, but will Viper run into the wall? Will Vivi see it? Oh, God. The timing from Viper's so nice. He does need to play musical chairs with these woodlines, but he hasn't taken many more losses. Oh, my God. Okay, okay. So you see how Viper's passing it? This is the same situation, but look what Viper has done. This is an awesome learning tool. We saw an instance earlier where Vivi attacked the wall villager, and then Viper could react. Viper does not attack the wall villager, so we can get more damage in on the gold. An excellent example of what you should do in this situation when you're getting past someone and they don't know where your army is. A big difference here, both in the villagers lost, but also the fact that Vivi had to abandon his gold. And if you want this Vil, you can always go back and get him. Now here, Viper's got some ranged army, which will slowly whittle down Vivi's ranged army, but Vivi will have more ranged armies there, or more of a ranged force, I should say. Currently no gold income for him, though. So if he loses the crossbowman, it's a problem. And good news for him is he's not losing crossbowman. We could have a great game. Viper has to drop a TC on a wood line. So Viper doesn't have wood. Vivi doesn't have gold. And without gold, I don't know how Vivi deals with this. He's going to hope these knights are going to be enough. He's currently got a lot more idle time than Viper. 41 villagers versus 42. It's 58 pop versus 56. Vivi trying his best there to get the Vil kills. But Viper getting to the mass now where he could deal with this. Viper getting infantry armor. That's got to be a misclick. And the knights here. Again, they're not fully upgraded. And these are Tatar crossbows on a hill. And those knights are going to die. Vivi was looking here. Viper has now researched infantry armor with the civilization that only gets one infantry armor upgrade. So, interesting. I don't think he has any clue that he did that. I guess maybe he tried to get archer armor? Because he had the other upgrades. Vivi's food eco is even struggling. Look, he's got 27 on wood and 7 on food, and no other villagers are on resources. Or no villagers on different resources, sorry. And Viper now clears this up. And this gets dangerous now, because Viper's eco is flowing wonderfully. He's got crossbowmen, which are going to deny the siege workshop. And this might be... Vivi might just lose hope here. Yeah, this will not go up. And now what? Right? Like, it was already going to be bad if you had siege, because Viper's thought ahead and added a knight. Oh, man. Well, what you want is you want a siege workshop. So I guess you have to make one at home now. But, man, Viper's going to run right in, and this is over. I mean, at least I believe so. Viper, we've seen it all before. We'll be on 3 town centers behind this. And he's just had a really good game here. My favorite part of this game, though, is just the differences between the players when they snuck their archers. Obviously, Viper snuck in castle, and I think he had more army, so it was easier for him to get more value. But that was a big turning point in this game. If Vivi killed 5 villagers in that wood line, and then Viper couldn't take wood from it in feudal, that would have been horrible. Damage control isn't there, and I think for Viper, if you're not already breathing easy now, if you're not already feeling good about this, you're going to be feeling it. Because I do not see how Vivi recovers here. His other golds are over here, which Viper's going to have full vision on. And Viper's just going to macro like a madman. So we knew Chinese could be strong. Viper now mixing in those cav archers against these villagers, which is running somewhere. I don't think they even know where they're going. And Vivi had a better feudal age here, but ultimately it was still early castle age and the difference there. Well played, Viper. I think this is probably the closest game, though. It was shorter than the previous game, but I think it was closer. But let's go back to that archer moment. Again, it is not, we're not saying like mistake from Vivi. This is an issue from Vivi. There's a lot of if, ands, or why. Anytime someone doesn't do something or anytime someone doesn't find the value they're doing, there is a reason to explain it. And oftentimes that is a credit to the opponent, right? And like, here's an example of Viper saving a Vil. I believe soon after this, we had a quick wall. Like, these are the moments that Viper just excels in, right? And Vivi just struggled to be able to find the kills. But, you know, the opportunity came when the archers snuck, and I just want to look at it. Okay. So we're going to look at it twice, and then the next game's going to start. So I'm going to be really fast, but I'm just kind of into this right now. So, okay. You know the wood line's there. Pause. If you do not attack that Vil, you're in that wood line. Viper only notices this because of the attack signal. Okay, Viper's perspective. Boom. This is when he notices, right? Now, amazing play from Viper, but he has an extra 2 seconds because the archers go the other way. If those archers in that moment go directly into that wood line, Viper has no other lumber camp. He has no army at home, and that might actually end the game. I honestly think that ends the game because look at what happens soon after this. Viper gets cleared. Right? Like, I guess it wasn't right away, but Viper's eco would be a disaster area. He'd be down, let's just say 3 villagers with no wood. And then the scouts are going to come out and clear this soon after. Again, we're probably assuming a lot from the game to say it's won there. Because Viper would maybe find a way to do some different things. But I think that was the moment there for Vivi to get that victory. And he wasn't able to take advantage of that. Viper, with the time he found, was able to delay it. And, he's up 3-0 here. Here we are, guys. Viper with one of his favorite civilizations, the Portuguese in the yellow. One of the earliest picks for him. And he's looking to make this a 4-0 and make it to the semifinals against his Norwegian comrade, Mr. MBL. Viper, pretty open map here. I expect the same for Vivi, and that is absolutely the case. And Vivi, he had some gamble picks in his draft. He had Burgundians and he had Poles in his draft, both of which you hope for really closed maps. If you think back to game 1, that map was fairly closed off with big wood lines. Game 3, even the previous game, it was maybe a little bit more feasible to wall up. This here, not sure that this is the map that Poles want to have. Polish bonuses are surrounded building farms in the perfect spots. Perfect spots will be around the mill, which will be forward on a hill. That is, I think you might even prefer to have your gold on the hill than the berries with the Poles. And then the other thing is having the ability to freely mine stone, because that brings in stone, but then also some gold. So, not the map Vivi would want. Vivi, obviously, maybe feeling a little bit down with this series as well, so we might see something even like YOLO, maybe even a Tower Rush. I don't know. Portuguese are super smooth now. They were always really good, and like most things, Viper was a believer in the Portuguese before everyone else was a believer in the Portuguese. He was even a believer in the organ guns before they became really strong. But it's not just the gold discount that makes the Portuguese really strong, but they also received a bonus where they get some wood from their berries now. So I think that change alone... Well, no, not that change alone, because the gold discount is really what makes them strong. But anyways, that change took them over the edge and absolutely put them in most people's like top 6 or top 7, I'd say, for Arabia. And maybe even Arena, truthfully. And water maps. Like, Portuguese could kind of do it all. So, Viper's base is much better in comparison, in my opinion. A backwood. As the action unfolds, you will see walls, and I could easily see where those walls would be. Kind of showing you with my cursor. For Vivi, I guess maybe here and here is doable. And then, if you get that down, you've got a lot of free space in the back. But guys, like, where does Vivi even place town centers, man? Here? There? Like, here? Okay, it's possible. How many civs are in the top 7? 19? Get out of here. Okay, top 7 civs on Arabia. You want me to mention them? Fine, I'll do it. I'll mention 7. In no particular order, though, because I haven't really thought about this. Malians. Portuguese. Mayans. I really got to think now, because there's so many civs. I think I'd put Gurjaras there. Aztecs, but you'll never see them played in this tourney because everyone will ban them. Chinese, how many am I at? 5? I do have some preference picks. Like, I really think Tatars could be considered top 7. I honestly think that. And that might be recency bias because we just saw Viper play with them. But and then I'm tempted to say Mongols, but I think Mongols drop off a little bit too hard. Look at this mill. He's built the bulwark here because he's scared. He's scared of the berries. Yeah, and Incas. Incas for sure. If that's 7, that's my list. Civs like Mongols and Lithuanians all come in a little bit later than that for me. So, yeah. That would be my 7 if I just said 7. I didn't even keep track. God, dude. Look at this bulwark. 9, lol. Did I say 9? God, I said 9? No, not Mongols. Eliminate Mongols from that list. Okay, I have to remove one. I removed Tatars then. Okay. So, Malians, Portuguese, Mayans, Gurjaras, Aztecs, Chinese, and Incas. And, like, Franks, I wanted to put it in there, but I didn't because I think a lot of those other civilizations are solid counters to them. But, like, Franks would be right after that and some of the other civs as well. Okay, so Vivi wants safe farms, and he literally is just not going to take berries now. Did Viper see that? He doesn't see the mill. Viper's going to go scouts, it looks like. And he might be a little confused. Obviously, there's no pressure on Viper. If he loses this game, he's got plenty more opportunities, but I guess Vivi didn't want to create more work for himself, so he said, I don't eat fruit, for I am the fat dragon, and we just eat meat. And then I guess farms. So, also, I think Viper saw the barracks was up later than usual. And I say later than usual as Viper quick walls that villager because he's a massive nerd. Because... Oh, Viper! Got poked. Because you could sometimes use your barracks as your second Dark Age building. So you would go lumber camp barracks and then delay the mill, which would imply still taking the berries. But because the barracks was coming up so late, Viper has to know that there's another building back there. So he might... In theory, he should know that the mill is back there. Or the full work, I should say. Okay. Viper sees the scout. He does not know what his opponent's strategy is. His opponent's strategy is farm and spearman right now. And Viper's going to golds. So he can mix in some archers against those spears, which seems pretty standard. Mining camp is also an option. Yeah. That's a fair point. I don't think Viper expects that, though, because if you were expecting that, you would probably not go to gold and you just make skirms. But yeah, as he snipes the scout there. I mean, he's not going to really have any clue. But if you don't see a military building beyond the barracks, then you just know that it's just going to be full defense from Vivi. But yeah, that's actually a fair point from you guys. Typically, the mining camp is... that's a common thing, is going mining camp. Yeah, this is not flowing too well for Vivi at all, honestly. Like, it's just... The eco's not even going to be good enough to make scouts. Everything's really delayed. I think you just have to... Poles was a gamble, but I think you just have to take the berries. Well, if Viper wasn't paranoid about a sneak before, he will be now if he sees spearmen come into his wood line. I'd be thinking archers are going to run in there. That would freak me out. Because you don't see the range yet. Now, the thing that makes Portuguese really strong is Viper traps in the spearmen and is now going to kill them with his villagers. I can't see the HP on that guy, but he's probably fine, right? Yes, he is. Viper's like, take me to the semi. For this dragon does not scare me. Yeah, but Viper's going to start battering down these walls, and Vivi's basically going to have to show his hand here. But if Vivi has 4 scouts, he could take a good fight. He's going to be on 3 in a second. Watch this be the game that Vivi wins. Again, I truly think he could have won the previous game if he had gone directly to Viper's woodline. Viper really delayed farms here, so he's not going to have a great castle age time. He's invested a lot into army. Vivi buying time. This is always tricky. This is a free archer kill, but if you attack that archer, then you might not be able to deal with this. And so, yeah, he determines he has to just react to this, and him reacting is going to be good for Viper, because Viper just saw it, so now Viper knows. Again, this archer's exposed, though. That's going to be a dead archer for the Viper. Well played from Vivi. You could tell there was some aspect of a surprise here. Good farming eco for the Viper. Not fully walled. What else is new? Viper looking to attack Vivi. Vivi hoping to get the house walls down now. I think you clear this if you're Vivi, and then you just go forward. But obviously you coming to clear this means that Viper will wall. The worst thing is if Viper actually gets through, though, because then he can run around in your base, and then you can't go forward. Oh, It just buys Viper a lot more time to do things, right? Vivi has a lot of scout numbers. Doesn't exactly get the start to the fight he would have wanted here. Viper kills the Spearman. That was really good micro from Viper. And he's got a spear here. Oh, it's just such an expensive loss for Vivi. And that might be the series. If he loses this fight, he loses the game. Yep. Really quick one here, guys. He probably will still keep fighting. Probably feeling pretty defeated currently. I'll drop the house walls. I'd love to add a little bit more mystery to this one, but I want to be truthful with you guys. I don't want to be like, the comeback could still happen. It's doable. I just don't know what it is. Like, even if you clear this, it feels like you're still 2 steps behind then because Viper could make it to Castle Age. Yeah, I think Vivi needed to take an engagement earlier. He absolutely could have taken an engagement, but I think, like, I'll tell you from my perspective, if I have worse micro, I feel like I need 1 or 2 more units to take every fight. And that happens when you play against better players, where you're just like, the amount of units you have becomes the important factor. Or sometimes like upgrades, right? I need to have this upgrade before I fight, even if I'm in a position where I could win the fight without that upgrade. So that kind of is what goes into the thinking. Yeah, Viper does not need this army to get any more value from here. He's, forcing a lot of reactions, but we are seeing a player who is defeated in Vivi. Mentally, that is. Soon, it will be physically, at least in the game. And he can play better than this, right? But he's just lost so many games consecutively. And he doesn't feel like he's got an opportunity. So he's going to try. Viper will probably end up losing these archers, but again, the value he's gotten has been really nice. And I guess from here, Viper is going to add a second range, so he's going to continue with archers. So he'll probably make a knight or 2, and he'll probably have a town center in an exposed area. I could see a TC here. Usually your first town center is on a wood line, so I think this is probably the spot for it. It's nice and neat and compact. We have had some sweeps in King of the Desert. We've also had some reverse sweeps. So there's been very little in between in KotD5. Been a great event, though. I wish I could have covered more of the early stages, but I was traveling and just busy with things. And for me, it's like I'm in tourney mode or I'm not in tourney mode, so I don't like to really go back and forth, and because I just feel like my commentary is a bit worse. So decided to just go with... I did some of the qualifier, but decided to just go with the quarters into the final and really try and kill it here. So I hope the commentary was good for 4-0s, because I know the games definitely matter as far as your entertainment's concerned, viewers. I still think, even though this will be 4-0 and the previous one was 4-0, I honestly feel as though the games have been really entertaining. Stomps at times, but entertainment was there. Viper with the town center. Right there on that wood line. Getting crossbow, getting bodkin. Villager on the siege workshop. Will survive. Archer won't, though. And these crossbowmen could break through. These crossbowmen are trying to deny a tower. The Viper's going to mix in some siege here. Siege, I don't really think he needs. But Vivi is going to be in Castle Age in 2 minutes. If this wasn't Viper, you think there's more of a chance here, possibly, for Vivi. Because he's got lots of farms. He's got stone. He's got, food and gold eco. As the polls. What happened to Leary? Leary lost to Sato 3-0 in the round of 16. And Sato is the player who played MBL earlier today. It was a really good series from Sato. Unfortunate for him, he wasn't able to have the same type of series against MBL, but Sato had a really good run this tourney. I think he'll be really happy with top 8. Tower is going to go down, as will the Villager, who just got rocked in the face. Vivi kind of feels forced to engage here, and that should be a kill, right? Actually, maybe not. You've got the hill, though. There you go. Takes out the Mangonel. Okay, delays the inevitable a little bit longer, but then, whoop, Viper's in underneath the tower. Force a reaction in one area. Force another reaction. And, oh god, he's literally underneath this tower right now. He's simply too quick. The timing's on it is perfect, and it's right before Vivi can make knights. Had he waited another minute for this, then Vivi has his res, he doesn't lose as many vills, and then the knights maybe clear these crossbows. Painful. Again, Siege Workshop wasn't truly necessary here for Viper. I feel like if he felt like the game was closer, he probably would have never gone for it against a player going knights. Love the TC. I feel like the TC timings have been perfect from Viper. Also, I know you guys are auto farm Andys out there. I love how he didn't go auto farm. He saved a lot of wood. He already had enough food for Vil production. See how he has 7 on Q? So he'll probably start to toggle auto farm now. Because this is at a point of the game where you have your third town center. You have all the buildings you want. But I see issues, and I bring this up again because of my experiences where sometimes you're reseeding too many farms when you're going archers or you want town centers. And you have tons of food, but if you're not centered around needing that food, it actually can slow you down in getting some advantages. That mainly applies to pro level, but it's interesting. A player like Viper never has auto farm on until mid game. So it's going to come. Yeah, auto farm comes on soon, right? Like now he's getting heavy plow. I used to have auto farm on, and then I would turn it off manually in like feudal. And pros are kind of on the fence on it. Basically, it's a preference thing. The idea is, though, you don't want to seed too many farms when you're going archers. Because then you might not have ballistics, or more crossbowmen, or whatever else. So Viper and I think all of GL, they never have auto farm as default, but I spoke to Vinchester, who's a very good player, and he always has auto farm on default. So if you're curious, you could actually check players. Capture Age even shows it. But yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about right now, so I'm talking about farms, something I'm an expert in. We got 2 knights for Vivi. And it's not a fun feeling. It's just like there's so many different things that come to mind, right? Like you don't want to be that guy who resigns too early. You don't want to look like you gave up to all the viewers watching. You're kind of defeated. And sometimes a defeated mindset can make you as a human just want you to feel more defeated. Like, I don't know if you guys can relate to that. Mental health is kind of weird. It's like when you're having a really bad day, you're like, for me, I'm just like, there's something in my brain that's just like, what can I do to make me feel worse about myself right now? Let's eat an entire pizza. And then I feel even worse, and I'm just like, oh, God, I deserve this feeling. It's just that, you know, it's a sucky thing. So Vivi's like, I'm going to keep playing on and make myself feel worse because I feel bad about this situation. But really good run for Vivi. Yeah, let's listen to sad music when you're already sad. Exactly. That's Vivi right now. He's listening to Simple Plan at the moment. Untitled by Simple Plan. How did this happen to me? I've made my mistakes. Viper's already won, but I won't resign. That was great. I don't know if anyone else knows that song, but I used to blast Simple Plan in my room while feeling lonely in middle school. So, I've been there. Welcome to my life. That's Doubt's song that he's singing right now as Vivi's experiencing what is close to a Doubt castle. But the castle goes up, and hey, he's gone for the unique tech, so now his knights cost way less gold, which is great, because he doesn't have a lot of eco compared to Viper. But I mean, Viper's flowing, dude. His eco's crazy. Still curious on auto farm. Bam, now auto farm. Okay. If any Civ could come back from this, it would be Pulse. And, like, Viper doesn't have the craziest army count. He's going to change that here in a second. At this point, Viper should make a siege tower. Should he? There's still a hole here. Well, he really needs to just get a defensive castle next to this gold on the left side. And then ballistics, and he's fine. I mean, okay, he's already fine, but you get my point. So, this means, with this result, obviously spoilers, guys, for those who are possibly watching live or in video form and didn't see the first quarterfinal. I had to talk about who Viper's going to face, so I'm going to give you another 5 seconds to mute the stream or whatever if you wish to. Because they were really good games. But yeah, what this means is it will be an all-Norwegian semifinal. Viper versus MBL. And that has historically not gone very good for MBL. That has always been almost like a little brother, big brother situation. And MBL's had an amazing run. I think you should go into that semifinal with nothing to lose. But Viper is the clear favorite there. But I mean, MBL would put up a better fight against Viper than Vivi did today, I think. No disrespect to Vivi. I just think it's just not a great matchup for him. And MBL does not die as easily. Like, the games will not look as bad for MBL in the mid game. But ultimately, I think expect a lot of those games to go to Imp. And I think Viper will be favored to have advantages there, economically, etc. 12 Knights for Vivi. Still doesn't have Castle Age armor. So it's a painful spot. Viper is double his population. Viper's got on the way to Imp and will drop a castle in the middle. Yeah. Viper has an 80% win rate versus MBL and tourneys, exactly. And I didn't look at the stats, but, like, it's probably similar. Maybe not quite as bad as it has looked for Vivi against Viper historically. Because we looked and Vivi is 4-21 in games won lost. The sets themselves, I think he only ever won one set, and it was nothing in, like, a really big prestigious tourney. Knights are going to all continue to die. Viper's got 40 crossbows. And Viper is in a position to make trebs if he even needs the trebs. I think he could just go for arbs. And Viper's economy is exploding. 14 villagers in queue. 44 expos. And Vivi drops the GGGL. But again, the positive, the silver lining here for Vivi is he had a really good run, man. He was up against Nikov, who's a maniac. Nikov was my heavy favorite in the round of 16 against Vivi. And while he could have been defeated after losing the first 2 games in that best of 5, he actually came back and probably had one of his best tourney results ever, right? A reverse sweep in the round of 16. He won 3-2. I did not cover that series. But I'm proud of Vivi to make it top 8. I think top 8 is a place that he hasn't been in a long time for a tournament this big. So overall, I think he'll be positive. He will have possibly surpassed his expectations. But for Viper, he's still well below his own expectations, even with the 4-0 here. Viper is going to be shooting for the final. Again, it will be MBL Viper in one of the semifinals, which I will cover. The other 2 quarterfinals will be coming tomorrow for those live on YouTube. Within 12 hours after this, we'll see one, and 12 hours after that, we'll see another. But it's going to be Hera and Vinchester, which is just insane. Vinchester was second place in the previous King of the Desert. I think he had beaten Hera in the semifinal of that event, if I'm not wrong. Anyways, Hera's one of the favorites and always is for these things, though he has yet to win one. And then you have Yo and Tato, 2 other massive names. Anything could happen there. And again, possible favorites to win King of the Desert with Yo and Tato. So certainly some big star power there in those quarterfinals, and we'll see what happens. But we know that Viper or MBL will be in the final. So Norway will be represented there. But, yep, just to sum up this game real quick, 30,000 gold collected. Or 30,000 resources collected from Viper in total. And while this was disappointing to see the 4-0, I still really enjoyed casting. Maybe it's just because I didn't cast earlier sets, and I'm just kind of loving the tournament settings and whatnot. But yeah, final shout-outs. Thanks, everyone, for watching. The YouTube channel has been blowing up recently. Stream's been solid. Thank you. Thank you again to the host of the event, Mem, and everyone who's been involved in this. I'm excited to close out King of the Desert 5. Covered every other King of the Desert over the years. It's a tournament that started many, many years ago. I'm happy to still be here doing it, and for there to be even more interest in an event like this and more interest in the games.